Hello YouTube, it's racing.gamer.hd here and welcome back to another video, and we are here at Silverstone. First of all, someone give that mechanic a pay rise. He's on his knees thoroughly checking our car, making sure we got no issues before the race start. So let's get straight into the race. This is one of the videos in part of the Road to 4,999 skill rating series, and we have a thoroughly enjoyable race here at Silverstone for you guys. So let's get straight into it. We are of course in the Formula Mazda Spec series today as we head down into Abbey, into the first corner. A little bit of a collision up ahead of us and we make contact with a guy on the right, but nothing too major. We stay alive, we manage to avoid a little bit of chaos there, so that's good. We're in 16th position. I'm trying to avoid making collisions, but unfortunately we give that guy a little bit of a love tap. I'm going to hang it around the outside, try and take 15th position, brake nice and deep so he can't take that position again, and we do that, so that's positive. And there was a guy that came off, went off into the grass actually in front of us, so we take another position. They're up into 14th. By Forza standards, we've had a pretty tidy first few corners there, so that's always a positive. We haven't been rammed off into oblivion like we did in the last race at Hockenheim, so that's a much better start than we'd hoped for, to be fair, so that's good. As we see a big gaggle of cars up ahead, so there's going to be some close racing here. We need to stay out of trouble as this guy comes across, goes for a gap that doesn't exist, but thankfully that doesn't spin us out. These cars spin out really easily, by the way, because they're very light. You do get spun out quite easily, so you just need to avoid collisions as much as you can and avoid getting hit, because if you do get hit, there's a good chance it could ruin your race. So we're surviving just, so that's the end of lap 1. This guy swings it around the outside but takes too much speed, and he invents a shortcut, so hopefully he gets a time penalty for that, and then he bumps the guy in front, so he's just causing chaos and we wanted to avoid him. We get bumped from behind, but it doesn't disturb us too much. Up into 10th place, keep our eyes forward, and the two up ahead make a collision and that gives us a gap and we squeeze by that guy there, so we're up into 9th. So far so good, everything's going to plan. The guy up ahead's got a 4.5 second penalty. We're only 8.4 seconds off the leader, even though we've got a 0.5 second penalty ourselves, so everything's going to plan and it looks like a good result is on the cards. And we need to start stringing some good results together if we want to climb the skill rating leaderboard, as this guy leaves a gap on the inside and I take that opportunity with both hands and brake nice and deep. And then there's some more battling up ahead, so can we take advantage of that? As I ride that curve horribly, can we take advantage of this battling? There's an opening there.
Through goes Hamilton!
And the crowd goes wild as I do my best Lewis Hamilton impression, so we take another couple of positions. However, the guy behind us, Herreros, really close to us, actually makes a beautiful move actually to take a position from us. So we're not going to give up a position so easily, so I send it around the outside and hopefully hang it around, try and carry a bit more speed, but we're still side by side. The proximity arrow is actually working quite well there. I can sense them up the inside, and I think the yellow car behind us makes an ambitious move, and they come together, and as you can see in the rear view mirror, they're losing a lot of time, so that's done and dusted. We're going to go ahead and skip to the beginning of lap 4. We've caught up to the guy up ahead in 5th position, Optimum SVO. We're 0.5 seconds behind him. He was a really quick guy actually. It took me quite a bit of time to actually catch up to him. However, he makes a bit of an error, goes wide and gets some oversteer on exit, so he hasn't got a good exit from the last corner, and we're going to have a much better straight line speed as a result down the hanger straight, and we take that position. All we need to do is make sure we hit the apex through Stowe, and we do that quite nicely, taking a good line through there, so that's that position gained as well. So we're going to skip now to the end of lap 5. Again, we've brought up to the pack in front. I say pack, we've got 3 people directly in front of us, so this is for 4th, 3rd and 2nd we're battling for now. We're 0.5 seconds behind Spring Sloth. Now I think at this point of the race I felt like I was gaining speed and gaining momentum compared to everyone else, relative to everyone else. That's probably because I had the mediums. I think the rest of the runners were either on softs, which was starting to run out, or on hard tyres, so at this point in the race I had more pace, so I had to try to take advantage of it. I made a really good move on Spring Sloth to take that position, and we tried to get a better exit to try and take the next position as well against White Mamba, but he covered the racing line, so I had to just back out of that move effectively, but that loses a little bit of momentum. I can't get the move done on the straight. I look down the inside, but he brakes quite late and deep and actually judges that to perfection. So I back out of that one, and we're going to have to be patient because these guys that we're battling against now, they're the front runners. They're not going to be so easy to overtake. They know how to take the racing lines, they're covering the apexes, so we're going to have to try and be patient and wait for the right opportunity to come along, or hope for a mistake. That sounds like the correct approach. It sounds like the wise approach, and you're going to find out in the next few seconds that's exactly what I don't do. Go way too quickly into this corner, tap the guy in front, he loses control and hit me. And of course that was just stupid.
I am stupid. I am stupid.
Oh dear, what a silly mistake that was. Really bad mistake. And if you look at the gap to the leader, we actually lost about roughly 3 seconds. And not only did we lose time in that incident, we've actually go back a few positions as well, so we're going to have to retake those positions and lose even more time. But you know what, let's not get too downbeat about that incident. In the end, we didn't actually end up spinning, so yes, we lost time, but it hasn't ruined our race completely. And also the guy that we hit didn't end up spinning as well, and I don't think he lost the position. So I think overall not much harm has been done, so we just got to refocus now. Let's get back into the rhythm as the guy in front of us, Spring Sloth, dives into the pits. And this part of the race is a little bit interesting because this is the lap that we get to see what strategy everyone's on. If people were on softs, they would need to pit by now because their softs would pretty much be wearing out very quickly at this point, and they wouldn't have any tyres left. Those that have stayed out most likely will be on the hard tyres with a no-stop strategy. And just notice the leader, Stealthy Cobras, came into the pits, and he's actually ended up coming out of the pits around 7 seconds behind us. So that was a little bit, let's just say, worrying for the race win, just purely because he's made a stop. He's only 7 seconds behind us, and we still needed to make our stop and catch up to him as well. So at this point in time, the race win looked a little bit sketchy, but podium's definitely still on the cards, and these two up ahead are going to be battling nice and hard. The problem is, as they're battling, and whilst my tyres are better than theirs, I'm losing a lot of time stuck behind them. So that's why I've decided, even though we had a lot of life left in the tyres actually, I've decided that we need to switch up the strategy and try and get some clean air. So we decided to come to the pits and make our pit stop. What you're going to see now is a lack of experience, because I actually switch and go really overly conservative actually, and go for another set of medium tyres, which was completely the wrong decision to make. This is actually the first race that we've done in the Formula Mazda Spec series on the dry, so I don't have any understanding at this point in time on what is the optimum strategy. Obviously the last race was in Formula Mazda Spec series, but that was in the wet. This was the first race in the dry, and it's only after this race that I actually realised that in the Formula Mazda Spec series there's two optimum strategies. There's either soft to soft or no stop hards, and we actually go medium to medium, so we definitely don't use the best strategy or the correct strategy in this race. Nevertheless, we were still pretty quick, and what it did mean is that this guy goes careering off into the barriers, and we take another position and another position there as well. What it means is that I can pretty much push as hard as I wanted to on these medium tyres. No matter how hard I push these tyres, they're going to last until the end of the race, so I can set some qualifying lap times on these tyres. Now what's helped as well is I've made my way through the back markers pretty quickly there, and also the two up ahead, they dive into the pits. So now we've got some clean air in front of us, because there's no one else in front of us. 3 people in front of us all dived into the pits. We're going to take 3 positions back, and we've got a big gap now up ahead to 4th position, and that's actually, well, the next race leader, who's also on a one-stop strategy as well, effectively, if he can take that race lead back again. So we've made up some time. We're going to skip to the end of lap 12, and I set a couple of hot laps there, just trying to close up the gap as much as possible. As you can see, the guy that was effectively the net race leader, he's taken up a couple of positions, so he's probably battling for the race lead by now, and we're going to be battling for 4th against Optimum SPO, who's, like I said earlier in the race, pretty quick guy. However, this is part of the race where, even though we had a bad strategy in terms of choosing the compounds incorrectly, it's going to pay a little bit of dividends here, because we're still pushing absolutely flat out now until the end of the race, whereas I believe he was on hard tyres, and this is the point of the race where his hard tyres must be suffering really, really badly now. So I knew that even though he was 6 seconds ahead of us at this point in time, you know, anything can happen, and we're going to be catching him up quite quickly. Whether we're going to be able to catch up enough or not, we're going to find out, but we're definitely going to be catching at a vast rate of knots. So at this point in time, I'm just trying to push as hard as I can and just basically setting hot lap after hot lap. Can we catch 4th position? You know, I've got to say that I actually enjoyed this race quite a bit, because this race seemed to be a lot cleaner than some of the other races that we've already been in, and no doubt the races that we'll probably take part in the future as well. And just probably because the skill level of the drivers, the top 4 drivers in this lobby were all pretty quick, pretty clean. And the only really major incident that we suffered ourselves, obviously we saw some other people get careered off, but the one incident that we suffered is just based off our own error. So, you know, this race was actually thoroughly enjoyable. I quite liked it. There was a lot of clean air, a lot of space for me to extract the pace of the car and just drive as hard as possible. I love this track as well. Silverstone's always been a favourite track of mine. It just flows really, really nicely, and once you get into a rhythm in Silverstone, it's a very, very fun track to drive one. So yeah, really, really enjoyable. However, let's go back to the action. We've closed in to 2.5 seconds. The difference in penalties is 0.8 seconds, guys. Can we close in the rest of the time difference? We need to find 1.5 seconds through Vale and Club. Can we do it? And we just crossed the finish line. Wow, what a close finish. Literally just over a 600th of a second ahead of him. Wow, what a close finish, guys. What a really, really good race in the end. If you enjoyed that, please hit the subscribe button. Please like the video. It would really, really help me out. We're trying to grow this channel, trying to do some more videos. And I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. We've got some more races coming up. If you want to stay tuned, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We end up in 4th position, and that takes us to a skill rating of 4,962. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.